That's better. You beautiful lot. My name's Jason. This is my 80's podcast. You put the boom boom into my heart. You beautiful lot. My name's Jason. This is my 80's podcast. You put the boom boom into my heart. Right, this is my second part of my chat with the amazing Scott Lawrence. Everything about 80's, growing up in the 80's from his perspective and a bit of mine as well. So please take a look and a listen at the amazing Scott Lawrence. Go on.
Well, it's the early 90s where they started sampling a lot of the 80s stuff. You look at Ice Baby.
Yeah.
Sampling the Queen song.
Oh, I love that. Do you know, Under Pressure is one of the most...
It's amazing.
I think that's an underrated song as well.
I was out with a few weeks ago, Clayton, and we went out to Bath. We saw a David Bowie tribute. Best tribute act I've ever seen.
Was that?
David Bowie. Amazing, the tribute act.
Because a friend of ours does an ABBA tribute band, and some friend of mine goes, I went to watch this George. I goes, I've watched him live, and I think because I idolise him, he's the one I can't go and watch someone do George Michael. It's just the one person.
You'll be comparing it all the time.
Absolutely. I'm not questioning the question. Where were you in 1980? Was it 80? I'm gonna have to have a look now. Hold on. The brain. 1985 when thingy came out. Live Aid. Do you remember where you were when Live Aid came out? I asked someone this.
I'm in West Sussex, and I was 14. I remember watching it all day.
Same age as me.
And it was really nice. I remember watching it. Yeah.
It was red hot, wasn't it? I always remember it being really hot.
Yeah.
And I can remember because it was at the time where Madonna wasn't as massive, was she? But she was on there.
Yeah.
And I always remember her doing a stint, and I used to think, God, she's really cool. And that's probably where I became a little bit more into Madonna. I enjoyed it, thinking about it, watching it there. And that was when I got into Mick Jagger and Bowie, because they did that duet, didn't they?
Dancing in the Street, yeah.
And it was one for that. And
because I think Status Quo opened it, didn't they?
Yes.
And then
but
Phil Collins flew to Philadelphia.
Absolutely. George Michael was amazing on it, but for me, Queen just took that show.
Queen,
completely
I've seen Jackson,
different height.
But Queen at Live Aid, we sung to the crowds and they sang back. I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it.
You've just literally said that, and my arms are just going up when you said that as well.
Yeah.
Because I watched that the other day, Queen, and even when I watched that the other day, and it's just mind blowing how amazing. And you don't realise, because when you watch that, I mean, the film came out, Bohemian Rhapsody, didn't it? And and what he was actually going through when he was before that, I just think, and he was just perfect. He was absolutely. I always remember my dad watching that, and I didn't think when Queen come on, the house could have burnt down, and he would not have moved. No. He just was fixated. He just idolised him. But there were some amazing acts on there. I mean, he had I always remember watching. I forgot the Salt and Pepper were on it.
Were they on it?
Lisa Chapman. You know what I mean? Salt and Pepper. Yeah. Right, I think it was right at the end bit of it, but yeah, they did. They did their Push It on there because see that always reminds me of a 90s song. That's an 80s, isn't it? And that's quite.
That's been 80s, 86, 87, isn't it? Push It.
Yeah. And I just
was it? Yeah, 88.
It's like Kylie though, isn't it? I mean, some of her songs. Kylie. I always remember liking some of her songs when I was obviously I was a bit old and I was like 16. I used to work in this factory with all these blokes that were arseholes. And she's not going to be around Kylie. And look at her now, literally all these years later.
Yeah.
One of the lads there got me into Deacon Blue when I used to work.
Deacon Blue, Real Gone Kid. Yeah, makes some crack.
Absolutely. Their album, was it Chocolate Girl? That one, did that one called Chocolate?
My favourite one is I'll Never Fall in Love Again.
Oh, that is a brilliant song, isn't it?
That's a cover version, but it's a great tune.
But I used to love Beautiful South as well.
Was that with Fatboy Slim?
That is had a little time. What was it called? They duetted with that one because they used to be from the House Martins, didn't they?
That's it. House Martins. That's it. Yeah.
That was they were.
Beautiful South, Caravan of Love. Is that right?
That was it.
Yeah.
And then they went on to I think they went into the 90s. But God, you think because you forget, don't you? When I've done some chats with people, you forget the amount of, especially some of them that probably weren't as massive as a lot of the other ones.
But back in the 80s, the Christmas songs were good. Flying Pickets.
Yeah.
Da 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 da
Yeah, and they had no music.
That's the
And that
Yazoo
was
song.
I was just saying it's a cover version of
Yeah,
Yazoo, wasn't it?
amazing.
And it just went
Shakin'
mad in the
Stevens,
charts.
amazing.
Yeah.
He sold
Do you
millions.
know, always makes me laugh with Shakin' Stevens.
He sold millions.
I shouldn't say this. It's like, what was that one when he was like Christmas song that he had?
Oh, Wishing for Christmas Every Day. I remember it, but it's not.
And have you watched the video recently, Scott?
What?
I watched. Do you know the Christmas one, and it's like but he's singing to a child.
Yeah.
But then at the time, it was not. We never thought anything of that. But it's how we've become now, isn't it? It's like it's made it all even worse.
Yeah, but just getting off music a little bit. Do you remember Rainbow?
Oh God!
Now that was on nowadays.
Yeah. They were all off their tits, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were all off.
That banana. One skin, two skin, three skin, four. You didn't think they got it. You didn't think they got it.
They were, and they used. And you know what used to make me laugh when they used to have like. I mean, when you watch it now, I know it was thinking. I mean, what was it? George was his campus Christmas. He was his campus Christmas. George was, and Zippy just wouldn't shut the.
Yeah, George. Was George the pink?
George was the pink one, wasn't it? And he was his campus Christmas, and then you had Zippy that wouldn't shut the hell up.
Yeah, and then the bear thing.
Yeah.
Bungle.
Do you know what used to make me laugh with Bungle? Right. Why did he put pyjamas on to bed?
Yeah.
Why did he put pyjamas? Yeah. He walked around with nakedness, and as soon as he went to bed, he put a pair of pyjamas on.
Yeah.
Just but kids talking about kids' TV, it's like things like, I always think like, I used to love Thundercats. And I love He-Man. And when you watch He-Man, I've spoke about this before. When I watched He-Man, could Skeletor be any camper? And he was just not as. When I was a kid, I used to think, ooh, he's a bit. But now you just think, he was camp as anything. You know what I mean? You were Grayskull.
Yeah.
When he used to whip his sword out, as he used to say.
Yeah. And what was the cat called?
Oh, it was called Cringer, wasn't it? When it first, his name was Cringer, and then when he whipped his sword out and hit him with it, he became Battle Cat.
That's it, Battle Cat. That's it.
I always makes me laugh with things like that. So just think to myself, how can you not tell that that's Adam and that's He-Man? Because there's no difference. He's just got like a bit. But then I didn't realise. Did you know that She-Ra was his twin sister?
No. Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, that's some fucked up shit.
I know.
That, you know, you just think, is that really? So I went, yeah, and I looked on it, and that was supposed to be his twin sister, She-Ra was.
Bloody hell.
Do you even know he's got a twin sister?
No.
God.
Okay.
But all that sort of like kid stuff, it's, and we were talking about, and do you know, the one I used to love the most is things like, I love the 18 because no one ever got killed, did they?
No, 18 never got shot, no one got killed. No.
The 18, they were spraying bullets around like anything, and not a single person, or the car would flip upside down.
The 18, the guy at the 18, face.
Yes.
In the late 70s, he was in Battlestar Galactica, and he was my first man crush. I wanted to be Starbuck.
That's what people, but loads of people did, didn't they? They wanted to be him, and then when
Starbuck or what's his name? Oh, what's it called? Miami Vice.
Don Johnson.
Yeah, they're my two man crushes.
Don Johnson in Miami Vice was brilliant. I mean, I always remember that, and I always remember, oh God, what was it? Airwolf.
Yes.
I know that.
Yeah.
The thing is, what makes me laugh with it, because I always think no one makes like theme tunes to TV shows or things like the 80s did.
No.
I mean, they were some of the most. When you think, if you was wherever you were upstairs, if you heard that Air Force aeroplane copter thing going around, you were downstairs straight away because you knew what it was. And it's a bit like all the theme tunes. I mean, like Fraggle Rock. We're talking about Fraggle Rock. I mean, that was a classic, and it's like the 18 them theme tunes. They don't do them on shows anymore, do they? And they were quite long as well.
Night Rider.
Yeah.
I remember one Easter, having on Easter egg, putting them all out, eating them, watching Knight Rider.
Yeah. And they're the memories that I always think they're the memories that you get and you keep. And this is why I always say to people, this is why I love talking about the 80s, because even though I was born in the 70s, and I remember some of it, but for me, I remember, it's like a bit, because we're the same year, it's like I was born in 71, so we're literally, and I remember being like in 81 about 10, so that's when I remember more from that age, and that's why I knew all the 80s, whereas even though the 70s, I do remember some of the 70s stuff, I don't remember it like I do the 80s, because I was out there listening, and then as you was going on, you were buying your own music then, weren't you, and you were allowed to watch. I mean, I remember watching like Salem's Lot as a 10-year-old.
Yeah, Salem's Lot,
That was some stuff. That was one film that scared the life out of me.
As a kid, the one film that scared me the most as a kid was American Werewolf in London. That absolutely freaked me out.
Yeah, and you watch that now, that is still some of the most amazing special effects.
That Jaws,
for its time.
They're all just like, wow. Even when the Jaws, where he eats him on the boat, it's still like, that's like, do you know what I mean? That's raw. That is raw.
Yeah. And it's like, and I think with American Werewolf, when I watched that, and I remember even that, like, because they used to have that dead lad, didn't they, that was hovering around him in American Werewolf.
Yeah.
That used to freak me out. Yeah. But one of my ultimate favourite horror films is Nightmare on Elm Street, because I just think no one plays Freddy Krueger like Robert Englund.
Yeah.
You can make that as much, you can remake that as much as you like.
Yeah.
The first one I love. Used to scare the life. Do you watch it now? I still love it.
Yeah,
it's classic, but it doesn't.
No, they don't make them that. Do you know what I mean? They were scary, and they were psychological as well. Because look, like in American Werewolf in London, in the tube station, you could hear the thing growling, but you couldn't see it. You're like, where the fuck is it? Where the fuck is it?
And for me, that's the worst thing. Do you know? Like, I don't care about the gore. I don't care about the blood and all that. It's the not knowing it, and I think that's a bit like with that American Werewolf. And the thing is with Freddy Krueger, because obviously we all fell asleep, and it was in your dreams, right?
Yeah.
Scare the life.
Yeah. Proper.
Yeah. I used to think to myself, this can't be normal to be scared to death of something on the teller, and then my mum used to say, it's not real.
It's not.
But but we all fall asleep, don't we?
Yeah.
But I used to love all that sort of horror stuff, all that. I don't watch so much horror now as I get older, because I just think some of it's just a bit out the window. But is there any American stuff that I know you talked about Knight Rider, but I used to love, I mean, I know no one did, but I always remember watching Dallas and all that. And Dallas was massive.
Bobby Ewing, I like Bobby Ewing.
Bobby was brilliant. But that was massive in the 80s, wasn't it? With the
Falcon
Who Shot
Crest.
JR. Falcon Crest.
Dynasty.
For me, Dynasty got better when Joan Collins, because she wasn't. I didn't realise it. I can't remember. I remember watching it, but I didn't realise Joan Collins wasn't in the first season.
I've been crushing her. She was like a proper deal. I mean,
but even now, I know she's like 92.
Yeah,
she does. She still looks amazing, and I just think with them sort of programs, you don't get them anymore. You won't ever get the Dallases and them big massive shows anymore. And I always think, because even now, I mean, people buy them, don't they, on DVD and all that to watch.
Yeah.
I was going to say VHS, and I just thought, no, Joe, we've gone past VHS. But that's another thing. I used to love VHS because I used to love recording TV shows from the telly. Yeah. You can't do that. I know you can.
I used to get a tape recorder out and record Top of the Pops and tell everyone, come on, try and record this. Billy Joel, Uptown Girl. I wanted to record it, but everyone was talking. I got right on.
I've spoken about this. I always remember one of the worst things I ever did was when my dad was obsessed with Queen, and you used to have these cassettes and you wanted to record them. I've not got them, because you used to just take the plastic bits out the top, didn't you?
Yeah.
If you didn't want to record over them. But my dad had got a new, I think it was Queen's, it's the one with the circle on it with all the flowers. I can't remember which one that was. I can remember putting some taping on it, recording Top of the Pops over. It's his brand new Queen album. I thought that man was going to absolutely kill me, because he was so angry. And at the time, when you're like 12, I kept thinking, I'm only taping over it. But you know now, what I know about music, I'd have torn my head off if I had done that. You know what I mean? Just record. Because people used to do that, didn't we? We used to record over anything. I used to record, like we used to record Top of the Pops and then try and stop it just before some idiot DJ spoke.
Yeah.
You never got there in time.
Or you'd record on the radio the top 40 on a Sunday with Bruno
God.
Brooks or something, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
You want
Bruno Brooks.
Yeah.
That's why when Steve Wright died, that was just so sad. He was amazing, Steve Wright.
Yeah, he was been around for years.
Yeah, and I didn't realise that because BBC Two do some of the old 80s and stuff, don't they? They do some because I have to be honest, I couldn't tell you what number one is in the charts. Scott, I listened to Heart 80s in my car.
Yeah, I listened to Greatest Hits.
Yeah, so I
was till 70s, 80s, 90s.
I can tell you who's in the charts.
Yeah, I was chatting to Kate and eldest. Her was just going to a festival, and she said, "Who's there?" And she said, "Dave." I was like, "Who's Dave?"
That'd be me. Who's Dave?
Was my thing. George Michael. Who's Dave? Who's Dave?
I could remember. So was it someone that I'd gone onto on top, and I was looking. I thought, who's that at number one?
Who's Dave?
I've no idea. Dave.
But
is that what his name?
That's their thing now.
Yeah.
That is.
But
when we
won't be around in 30 years' time.
No, of course they won't be.
You won't. And that's what I always think about these. I know the 70s. I know some people love the 70s, and everyone likes their own decade. And I think if you grew up in the 70s, that would be your decade.
Yeah.
It's like, because I grew up in the 80s. And now, for me, the 80s has always been because for me, very colourful.
Yeah.
Everyone was different. Everyone was unique. And I just,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just, for me, it was a special time and I loved it. And I always think I would go back if I could take my phone with me.
Take your phone. Yeah, you record it. Yeah, remember
if I could, yes.
It's
you're the only one who gets
that. Teenage years where you're just growing up and you're finding your feet and you've got your idols. When you're like coming to 10, 11, 12, you haven't really you're still too young. But as you're 13 to like 18, 19.
And I always think life was so much more simpler.
Yeah,
in the 80s.
100%.
You don't have nothing to. I can't remember worrying about. All I used to worry about was when I was going out or when I was going to get the next album or next single or.
You didn't say to your mum, Dad, what's for dinner. You just went in and you got given what you paid and you ate it. And you didn't have to able to eat it. Everything like it, you had to eat it.
Yeah, well, my mum always said, if you don't like, well, she'd sit there. I say, what's that? She'd say, what do you think is shit with sugar? And it's like, what?
I'd go to the toilet and stay in there for ages, and I'd come out and my dinner would still be on the table. I was going to eat it.
Yeah, she'd make you eat it. They'd make you eat it. I think then, and like you were saying right at the beginning of this, it is respect, and it's like we don't. It's completely gone now, isn't it? There's none.
Let's say growing up, you know, it wasn't the best. If I got to five disrespects of my parents, I got a slipper. You know, back in the day, getting sent to your room was a punishment.
It's not now.
Now
it's a joy.
There's no respect whatsoever. Nothing, and that's gone. Someone said to me on TikTok, "What would you bring back from the 70s?" And I wrote down common sense. Or respect.
Absolutely. And the thing is now, it's like it wasn't. I think in the 80s, it's not so much we was afraid of our parents. I think, like I said, it was to do with respect as well.
Yeah.
But if my mum said jump, sometimes you'd think, how high do you want me to jump? Yeah. Whereas nowadays, it's like, it means nothing.
I remember getting grounded for the whole winter because it was snowing. Because I'd done something with some mates. I was a bit but I lied.
Yeah.
And I blamed somebody else. In the end, I got found out. And because I lied, I got grounded. Not because I done it, but because I lied.
Because you lied about it.
Yeah.
When you think though, and at the time, just being grounded was like someone took away your life, wasn't it?
That in the snow as a teenager, that's like, and it used to snow massively back in the day.
Yeah, it did.
I weren't let out.
I always remember, God, I used to love the snow in the 80s because that was snow. I mean, we didn't get any this year. I don't know if you got any near you, but we didn't get any in Leicester. But all I remember is when people say, oh, this ain't snow. I used to open our front door when I was younger. The snow would drop in on you.
You get a flow of snow. They shut the school now.
Yeah. We used to go. I remember our school never used to be shut, and we used to take us at least about 35 minutes to walk a 10-minute walking journey.
You get to school safe.
Absolutely. And we still had to go to school, whether it was 10 foot of snow.
Yeah. I walked to school in 1987 after the storm. I slept through the storm. The school was shut, but I still walked to school.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know. I stepped through it.
Oh my God! I used to love the weather, and I used to love the snow because even though I know that it's snow, but you got all the sea. I always think you still got the summer. I didn't care about the winter. I love the winter, and I was born in the summer.
Yeah.
I still love the winter. I used to love the winter and the weather and all that shit. You know what I mean? I didn't.
Yeah.
It never used to bother me. But I think you're right. I think you're completely right. I think when you say the kids have lost all that sort of respect. But then I suppose nowadays it's like there's so much more going on, isn't there? You know what I mean? It's like when we were younger, we probably didn't have. I'm glad we didn't. You know, some of the things some of the things I did when I was 15, 16, growing up in the 80s, thank the Lord they weren't video recorded.
Yeah, you're being looked up now.
Do you know what I mean? You just think to yourself, thank God that they weren't ever video recorded. Because nowadays, I always think nowadays you can't go out and enjoy yourself and that's it. Because you go out and if you do anything, it's all over the internet.
Yeah.
I love social.
Everything's aimed at the young as well. All this stuff about him, they, them.
Yeah.
It's all aimed at the young. Now, when we was kids, we was taught about dinosaurs and the war. You know, things like that. And that being funny, did dinosaurs really exist? But that's what we was taught about. So as far as we're concerned,
absolutely.
So kids these days are taught about you can be a man, you can be a woman, you can be whatever you want.
And at the end of the day, do you know what? I always think, who gives a... You know what I mean? For me, that's not important. I just think, as a kid growing up, and I just think we put a lot on them now, don't we, than when we did when we were growing up. But I would never, I have to be honest, if someone said to me, would you ever change and go and not... I'm glad I was.
They need to let kids be kids. And they'll learn far more than kids.
But like we were, I mean, I remember, it's like we used to go out, it's like we were saying at the beginning of this, like I used to say to my mum, we used to go out in the morning and you'd probably come back for a drink halfway. You'd be out literally. We used to go down to the local canal. I mean, you swimming in the local canal. I'm surprised I've not got 10 toes on one foot. You know, I mean, the amount of... But when you think, I suppose there wasn't that much pollution rubbish in the waters then, but we used to... I mean, my mum didn't know... I mean, when I can remember telling her, she went mad. But we used to like jump in the canals, in the brooks. We'd be out and walking.
You'd hurt yourself and you know you wouldn't do it again. Do you know what I mean?
Scrumping.
You go out and you explore.
I used to love... Yeah, I used to love scrumping. I used to love climbing up the trees, getting all the fruit off the trees.
Yeah.
And I always remember going with this girl that she was like what I used to call a tomboy in them days. And I always remember this bloke coming out with an axe and she's just hanging from this tree. And we all jumped off and she did not give a flying F-Scott. This girl was wrong. She says, if he hits me with that axe, because I'll wrap it around his head. She was only like 13, 14.
Yeah.
She was... But that's what I mean, that sort of stuff, scrumping, marbles. We used to play marbles in the street.
With stones.
British Bulldog.
Yeah, British Bulldog. And what was the other one? Nuts and bolts.
Yeah. Oh, we used to, I mean, I think it was a Midlands thing. We used to play what called Kerber. We used to throw the ball at the curb.
Yeah.
I used to. Yeah. But then you think that them sort of games and like, you know what I mean? We used to play like hide and seek.
40-40, hide and seek. Yeah.
Kids they didn't do any... I mean, we did used to do knock a door run, which probably wasn't the best.
I mean, if I could now, I'd still do knock down ginger. If I could, I'd do it now. I would. I still do it.
Yeah. I would. I just love all that sort of stuff, and I just think it's just one of the most... For me, it was one of the most amazing times, and I loved every minute of it, and I wouldn't ever change any of that. And if someone said to me...
I'm so glad that we experienced what we did.
Yeah.
Appreciate what we, you know.
Absolutely. And as much as people like, as much as I would probably, I have to be honest, getting old doesn't really bother me, if I'm really honest. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? We're all going to get older.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is what it is, and it's just an age thing. It's never ever really bothered me. But I just think I'm glad I'm my age because I experienced, for me, the 80s. And I suppose other people would say the same, that as they get older, they'll say that about them. But it always blows my mind when I think that like the 80s are nearly 40 years ago. I just think, how is that possible?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Someone said to me, 30 years ago, what are we now? 2024. So 30 years ago, it was 1994. So
1994.
we're thinking the early 90s. But in 1994, 30 years previous to that, the Beatles were number one.
Yeah, they were. It blows your mind, doesn't it? When you think, and it just makes you realise how quick time goes.
I did TikTok the other day, and it said, what was it? Brian Adams, Summer of '69. We are closer to 2069 now than we are to 1969.
I don't think I'll be here though. I'll probably not be here in 69. Jesus Christ.
But we've got the memories to talk about.
Do you know what? And I always say this, and this is why I love doing this 80s stuff, because like I've said, everybody has their own perception of the 80s. Everyone has their own ideas of what the 80s were about, and there's some people. I mean, it's like some people say there's some things in the 80s that wasn't amazing, and you know what I mean. And that's how it should be. You know what I mean? But
definitely,
it is what it is, isn't it?
It is what it is, and you make it what you make it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But speaking of the 80s, as I'm on your podcast, I'm going to an announcement to make.
Go on.
In the next few weeks, and we start a new thing on TikTok. I'm going to start going live on a Friday night.
Oh yeah.
Book myself a DJ set, and I'm going to be doing every Friday night a flashback, just for an hour.
What's the flashback? Please tell me it's 80s.
80s. And it's going to be people coming on, say hello, and requests, and I'll play all the requests. And then if it goes good, I'll do it more often. But
you do know that I'm going to be coming on, don't you? Stalking for the stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. No.
Is that what you're going to? That'd be brilliant. Do you know why?
I've ordered a DJ set. It will come, and then I'll probably give it a couple of weeks. So I'll get used to it, and I'll make sure I've got a catalogue. And then I'll go on live. People say hello, and then if they want a song, I'll play it. And then just do it for an hour on Friday. And if people start to like it and they want it more, I'll do it more often.
Oh, Scott, do you know what? When I do my 80s live stuff, people love it, and you have loads of people. But I think the music thing would probably even, because I've seen some of the DJs doing like some of them do like 90s stuff or 70s or 60s stuff.
I see a guy do it the other day. It was all up-to-date stuff. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Just call it Flashback Friday on a Friday.
Absolutely.
And if people like it and it goes well, I'll keep doing it.
I think I have to be honest, I think you do really well with that, especially with it being an 80s sort of stuff, because I've seen the 70s and the 60s ones, and people go mad for them.
Yeah.
So
that's my niche on TikTok, 80s, 90s. So I'll just do that.
So you could do an 80s and a 90s one, which would be brilliant.
Yeah. So people going out
exclusive.
Exclusive.
There you go. 80s. When he gets it sorted, 80s. You have to let us know, Scott, when you when you do it, and we'll.
When I do it, and on the first night I do it, I'll take you in it, and I'll
let us know, and we'll come on and have a chat.
Yet, but I'll let you know.
Yeah. That's fine. Yeah. We'll do that then. Well, I'm going to let you go now. Thanks ever so much for that.
Jay, it's been an absolute pleasure.
It has been, and it's been. I said you probably the longest one, an hour. That's been absolutely. And we'll have to do it again. And what I'll have to do, Scott, because some of the people I do my 80 chat with, we're going to do some other like specific ones, like different genres. But I'll grab you in on if you want to come on. They're like Karen and all that want to come on.
Yeah.
So if you want to come on,
when I see you live, and normally when I see you live, I'm at work. If I'm not at work, I'll jump in on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If not, and we'll do another podcast one with all of us, and we'll do a long chat. Definitely. So thanks ever so much for coming on, Scott.
Jay, it's been a pleasure.
Take care, mate. Absolute pleasure. Thank you, mate. Take care. See you later, mate.
Bye, mate. Bye-bye.